Have you ever decided to change something in your life? Maybe you wanted to try a new hobby, start studying a new subject, open a business, or simply make a life choice that's different from the usual. And suddenly, everyone seems to have something to say. At first, it might be a little joke. Where do you think you're going? Who do you think you are? Come on, forget it. It's not for you. Then come the sarcasm, the snickering, or that heavy, judgmental silence, especially from people who've known you for years and who, in their own lives, haven't exactly achieved that much. It's a fact. Those who decide to step up quickly realize that not everyone reacts with enthusiasm. Some brush it off, others start acting differently, more distant or critical. You can feel an irritation in the air, as if your attempt at personal growth were seen as a threat or an insult. Instead of support, you find yourself being blocked or even mocked. This reaction is surprisingly common, and for many people, it becomes a break. Doubt begins to creep in. Maybe you're out of place or too ambitious. But the truth is, these reactions have very little to do with the person who wants to improve, and a lot to do with the people around them. When someone decides to take a step toward personal growth, they often do it with excitement, with renewed motivation, sometimes even with a bit of shyness. They start eating better, reading more, signing up for a course, exploring new work or personal opportunities. It's a delicate moment. They feel more exposed, but also more alive. Yet almost immediately, they notice something changes in others too. People close to them start showing strange attitudes. Someone makes fun of them. Someone else looks at them with suspicion or coldness. The same people who once shared moments of complicity now seem annoyed or indifferent. Some stop including them. Others throw subtle jabs or seemingly innocent comments that still leave a mark. Instead of encouragement, you often end up surrounded by skepticism, judgment, or even contempt. And that reaction, even when subtle, is powerful. It makes you feel isolated, almost guilty for wanting to grow. You end up fighting not only the difficulties of change, but also the weight of being misunderstood. This is the paradox. Self-improvement should bring people together, inspire them. And instead, very often it divides. Those who try to improve themselves almost always run into external resistance they didn't expect. This reaction can surprise you, hurt you, or discourage you, but it has deep roots. There are psychological, cultural, and social reasons that explain why so many people tend to criticize, diminish, or even sabotage those who are evolving. Here are the 5 main ones. 1. The mirror effect. Other people's improvement becomes a merciless reflection. When someone starts changing for the better, even without meaning to, they call into question the lifestyle of everyone around them. Not because they say it out loud, but because their example acts like a mirror. The mere fact that someone else finds the strength to commit or step out of their comfort zone forces the observer to confront their own choices, often unchanged for years. It forces them to face their inability to change. This comparison isn't always conscious. Sometimes it starts as silent irritation, a feeling of inferiority that turns into judgment. Instead of asking what they could do to improve themselves, many people prefer to devalue the one who's moving. It's a psychological defense, a way to avoid feeling guilty or left behind. What they don't understand is that if they have a sad life, criticizing or belittling others won't make it better. 2. Threat to group identity. The one who changes disrupts the balance. Everyone belongs to a group. Family, friends, co-workers. These groups function like systems. Each person has a role, and over time a kind of internal equilibrium forms. When someone changes, starts reading different books, speaking with a different tone, thinking more independently, that transformation is perceived as a break in the pattern. The group, often without realizing it, reacts to push the rebel back into the old position. It's not always aggressive. Sometimes a joke or a mild exclusion is enough to signal disapproval. The implicit message is, to be accepted, you must remain similar to the others. This holds many people back because the need to belong is one of the strongest human needs. This is why it's essential to never stop growing as an individual. In the future, I'll make a video explaining the importance of being, first and foremost, individualists, because only then will we truly be able to bring value and support to the collective. 3. Envy and comparison. Other people's progress hurts those who have given up. Envy is an uncomfortable emotion, hard to admit. Nobody wants to acknowledge feeling it. Yet when someone grows, reaches a goal, changes their life, or starts getting results, it can awaken frustration in someone else. Not because that person doesn't deserve it, but because they become the symbol of a potential the other person chose not to develop. Those who have long surrendered to their limits when faced with someone else's ambition or strength may feel anger or sadness. It's as if every step forward by the other highlights their own stagnation. Faced with that pain, the easiest strategy is to downplay, mock, or look for flaws. The unconscious goal is to rebalance things. Bring the other person down so you no longer feel below. And you can be sure that if one day you reach your goal, the first thing these people will tell you is, "Wow, you were so lucky," having no idea what sacrifices you had to make to get there. In the end, there are 2 ways to build the tallest skyscraper in the city. The first is to build a taller skyscraper than everyone else. The second is the loser's method. Tear down all the skyscrapers taller than yours so yours doesn't look so short. 4. Fear of change. If someone evolves, the entire context is questioned. Change, even when it's happening to someone else, is scary. People tend to fear anything that disrupts routine, introduces new dynamics, or creates uncertainty. When someone transforms, it never happens in isolation. Their change affects others too. For example, if a coworker becomes more high-performing, it exposes the team's mediocrity. If a friend starts thinking more deeply, it can make the usual superficial conversations feel empty. If a partner wants to evolve, it can trigger insecurity in the other. That's why change, even when positive for the person experiencing it, is often seen as a threat by those watching. 5. The "don't get a big head" culture. Ambition is often frowned upon. In many cultural contexts, anyone who tries to stand out is viewed with suspicion. From a young age, many people are taught they must be humble, not draw too much attention, not want to do more. Sayings like, "if you praise yourself, you'll disgrace yourself," or "better to settle," helped build a toxic idea of modesty, where ambition is confused with arrogance. Remember, most people close to you care about you and want to see you do well. Well, but not too well. In other words, do well, yes, but not better than them. So the person who tries to improve is perceived as someone who thinks they're better, putting themselves on a pedestal, even when it's obvious they're simply working to improve their life. This cultural baggage is hard to remove and shapes many social reactions, even from kind or intelligent people. At this point, you might be wondering, what can you do to improve yourself without being influenced by others? In the face of all these reactions, criticism, sarcasm, distance, unsolicited judgments, it's normal to feel discouraged. Many people ask themselves if it's even worth it. Some, unfortunately, stop. Others go back, adapt, and slowly go dim just to not bother anyone. But there is another path, one of clarity, courage, and consistency with yourself. Those who choose to improve must first accept a simple but powerful truth. Not everyone will understand. Some will be annoyed. Others will try to sabotage you, often without even realizing it. But that's not a reason to stop. If anything, It's exactly in those moments that the direction you've chosen becomes even more valuable. It's important not to seek approval from those who have never left their comfort zone, from those who have never failed at anything because they have never tried anything. Someone who has never fought to change will struggle to understand the effort of someone who truly tries. That's why it becomes essential to surround yourself with new environments and new people, maybe a community, a mentor, friends with the same mindset. They don't need to be many, just a few, but genuine and growth-oriented. Also, anyone who starts a path of change should learn to be guided by their own vision, not by the need to be understood. Every step forward will require inner strength, but also clarity. Clarity about why you're doing it. Criticism often says more about the person who gives it than the person who receives it. In many cases, it's simply the voice of fear disguised as arrogance, or regret dressed up as cynicism. Understanding this lets you respond not with anger, but with firmness and calm. Continuing, despite everything, is already an act of freedom. Those who have the courage to continue, even when there is silence or hostility around them, build a strength that no longer depends on the outside world. A real inner strength that doesn't need to be understood in order to exist. Self-improvement is not for those seeking approval. It's for those seeking truth. And those who can accept being misunderstood are often the ones who end up truly inspiring others, even the ones who, at first, despised them. Life is not a popularity contest, and always remember the saying, better to be envied than pitied. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend checking out the video Why Most People Live a Mediocre Life, which you can find on this channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.